Hey everyone, Anthony here. It's crazy how hard this stuff is to talk about for me. Uh, anyway, I'm just gonna go and try not to get distracted. I have neighbors who have kids. Actually, recently, most of them moved, like yesterday or whatever. But I hang out with them and I observe the children and play with them and all that. And there's these three girls from different families, about 4 years old, almost 5 years old, and they have a problem with sharing. And I have my own thoughts about sharing. I don't think sharing. I don't think kids should be taught to share everything and whatever. But that's beside the point. Well, my thinking with that is that like some kids need items for security, like a security blanket or something like that, uh, that like someone that they care about gives them, and it makes them feel safe, and they know that there's always going to be someone there for them, and that security blanket or whatever is a symbol for that. Uh, but these girls, like I guess one story, I play when I play with them, say like I give them all each a ball, like a basketball or a soccer ball or whatever. They each have a ball, and I make like a hoop with my arms and pretend that I'm a basketball hoop so they could dunk it in. Because they're the one girl's brothers, or their brothers, they play basketball out in the street and stuff. So I make myself a hoop or whatever. And so I was playing with them, and this one girl, she's perfectly happy. Like the other two girls have regular basketballs, and then this one girl's playing with the soccer ball, and this one girl who has a basketball goes and takes the soccer ball away from her, and the girl who now doesn't have a soccer ball gets mad. And this, I see this happen to her all the time. Like the other girls always taking stuff from her, but the thing that sucks is that their parents don't see that. Their parents see the girl who's getting something taken from her get mad, and then she gets in trouble for not sharing or whatever. So, so anyway, that's just some of my observations. What happened a week or 2 weeks ago or something now is that I didn't see any of this happen, but I heard about it from the parents and stuff. Is that these two girls were playing, not the girl that usually stole the soccer ball from her, but uh, these one of the other girls. I guess we should give them letters for names to be easier to follow. So, soccer ball girl is person A. The girl that stole the soccer ball from her, person B, and then the third girl is person C. So, person A and C live in the same apartment because this one guy had split up from his girlfriend recently, and the woman that lives downstairs, who has the other girl, uh, let him move in, which is like, I don't know. I'm not going to get into that whole situation, but let's just say she doesn't really want him living there, uh, which I guess I can understand, because every time that's happened with me in the past, you think it's only going to be a couple days, and then it ends up being like a long ass time, and then it gets hard because you have to realize like, oh, this guy has to get a job, then he has to find an apartment, all that, and that stuff takes time. But whatever. That's not what this video is about. So what I was told is that girl A and girl C were in the apartment playing with each other, and girl A ended up hitting girl C. And it's my assumption, and well, what I was told, they got into a fight or argument because they weren't sharing, or what I think is that maybe there was just one toy and they were fighting over it, or whatever. Anyway, the father of girl C wasn't home. He was at work, and it was just the mother of girl A was around watching both of them. And so the mother of person A just didn't want girl C around them anymore, didn't want uh, that girl around her daughter, and consequently, uh, she also didn't want the father around and his two boys also. So he had like nowhere to give his kids, and he doesn't really want the kids with their mother because their whole situation going on and everything. But it made me think of like, well, where did this girl get this behavior from? Because all behavior is learned, or a or or we're not taught the proper way to handle things. So we end up resorting to behaviors or actions that uh, don't work and just make us more frustrated because we're not taught the best way to handle things. I have a lot of those problems myself with things I don't really know how to handle in a way that's favorable, I guess. But anyway, uh, it made me think, like, where did she learn this behavior from? And I would always see, so this girl's boyfriend, uh, I would watch her and her boyfriend argue and stuff, and she would always, like, I don't see what goes on inside their apartment, but he always ends up like leaving, and she's chasing after him, like hitting him and stuff. From what I'm told, like he breaks things in the apartment and whatever during their arguments. But what I see is like her chasing after him, hitting him, and everything. So obviously, you can see where I'm getting at with this is that I would think that this little girl learned that behavior of hitting the other girl from her mother. Now, to say like what is the solution to that, it's tough. I don't know what the solution is. I was in this problem recently with the girls because girl A, her father ended up going to jail, and all of us were sitting in the driveway as he got arrested and everything, and the girl was like really crying and like traumatized from it. So I ended up buying the girl a stuffed animal at Walmart. It's a $22 stuffed animal that I bought. And so the next day I end up giving it to her. And then the other girl, girl C, starts crying and throwing a tantrum because girl A got a stuffed animal and girl C didn't. And the reason I did that is because like I saw like how traumatizing it was, and that the the father of girl C was telling me that girl A wet the bed that night that happened, and like wetting the bed is like a symbol or a symptom of trauma. It can be, not always, but it can be. So that is something to like look for if someone's wetting the bed, is to look for signs of trauma and stuff like that. So I wanted to buy her the stuffed animal to sleep with, and like she trusts me, she knows me and everything, and wanted to build a relationship that so she wouldn't feel hurt or traumatized or anything, and still like have someone that she could trust and everything like that. So I bought her this stuffed animal, and it would like thinking that it would be like her security stuffed animal, and she would sleep with it and feel safer, and then not wet the bed and not have like subsequent uh, emotional things in her head because of that traumatic incident with her father. So anyway, I buy the girl the stuffed animal, and person C sees it and starts throwing a temper tantrum and everything, and I didn't know how to resolve it myself because like I'm not these children's parents. I don't really have the say. I don't have like the final word or anything, which is like, it shouldn't be that way. It should just be like whoever makes like the best argument or most reasonable argument. But I do feel like I have no right sometimes in trying to correct parents' behavior. But which sucks. Which sucks for the kids. So I don't know. To end the girl crying about the not getting a stuffed animal, I went to Walmart and bought her a stuffed animal for herself, and then I'm like, oh well, there's a third girl still, so I don't want her to be mad or cry or whatever, so I'll buy her a stuffed animal too. Even though the third girl wasn't even home and didn't see any of it, I didn't want her to eventually see that both of them had the same stuffed animal and she didn't. So, and I really should have just like explained this situation to them, because a lot of times, like when I actually talk to the kids and explain to them things, they end up like agreeing with me or understanding what's going on and everything. Uh, but I just didn't have that opportunity that day. So, so I go to Walmart and buy two more stuffed animals. So that's another $44 that I spent. And I get back, and girl number C, I give her this stuffed animal, and she's like holding on to it for dear life. And then girl B, I go to give her the stuffed animal, and she didn't even want it. I have a feeling that she didn't want it because like her father's around, so she doesn't need like the security from it. She probably got that sense that she doesn't need anything from me or for anything like that. So so yeah, what sucks too is that like since that day I haven't seen the stuffed animals. I did ask the father of girl C about it once, but he didn't really tell me anything, so I don't know what happened to them or anything like that. But yeah, the whole point of this story, the stuff that I'm talking about, is that like another thing that happens when you hit your children, uh, like you're kind of teaching them that the person who's bigger and more powerful than them can force you to do whatever they want you to do, because that's what happens. Like uh, say like your kid is misbehaving, and I put that in quotes because I don't even think like misbehaving is the right word. It's just more like what I see is like uh, a person isn't acting the way that you want, and instead of like understanding them and understanding the reason why they're acting that way, you hit them or use force to get them to act the way that you want them to act. So I don't really see it as misbehaving. I see that there's a underlying issue that causes people to act that way. And if you actually study like psychology and stuff, and I mean, you can even just look in yourself, what do you need emotionally and whatever, and then you can look at other people and give them what they need emotionally, and what they need. So then that builds like stronger relationships and trust and stuff like that. But yeah, so I don't think like hitting is the right answer because of that. Like you're teaching, like what I said before, you're teaching these children that people who are bigger and more powerful than them have power over them and can force them to do whatever they want. And I think that's like I think that's the reason. I remember always being afraid of adults or people older than me when I was a kid, and I think that that's where like that that trauma or behavior came from, is because like all my parents and all the adults around me, I couldn't argue with them. I couldn't stand up for myself or anything. It was always their way. And so, yeah, I think that's like one negative consequence of hitting children. Well, yeah, I think like the important thing for me to remember myself, like with that stuffed animal situation where I knew it wasn't the right thing to do to buy her a stuffed animal. She ended up appreciating it a lot. I just wasn't trying to buy her one, so that's why I was like upset about it. But uh, or is saying it because I don't know the solution to some of these problems with raising kids and everything. I think it's more just like trial and error in a sense to have an idea, to implement it and see the outcome of it. If the outcome isn't what you want, then change it after that. So I don't know. Those are just some of my thoughts. It's kind of unfortunate, I guess, uh, because my one neighbor's moved and they live there, in the house since 2015, so I've known them for a long time. Her two boys that are like 14 and 8, and then her daughter that's 4, and then her husband, boyfriend, or whatever of the two youngest kids moved back like last year. Since they moved, they're the ones who are like always outside playing, and then all the other kids would come outside to join them and everything. So I do think like in the future I'm not going to be seeing these people as much, and the kids or anything, because they moved, and I'm close enough to where I can go over their house once a week and all that, but it's just not really convenient, and I don't want to spend my time raising someone else's family and all that. Uh, I want to work on having my own family and stuff. So I don't know what's going to happen in the future. So I do want to add before I go that I suppose the answer would be if children learn from adults and the people who are around them, then the answer to a kid not hitting another kid, or essentially not using force to resolve an argument, would be for parents to demonstrate that with their kids. So when two parents have an argument or whatever, or have a problem not only with their spouse but with other children and with other people in the world and whatever, to practice doing it without hitting each other, without resorting to force. And that takes finding a spouse that will do that with you, that will sit down and talk through things and everything, which in my experience it's pretty hard to find anyone that will sit down and discuss shit with me when I have a problem, which is quite frustrating. But yeah, that's the end of this video. Take care, guys. Thank you and goodbye.